For sports news, back to Labour Day news. The Kenya's labour market is still in the recovery phase following the adverse effect of the COVID-19 on the economy. With the cost of living on the rise and the economy yet to recover, employers are looking to the government to create more conducive operating environment. KTN's Jimmy Mbogo spoke to both government and employers on the state of Kenya's labour market.
Labour Day celebrations in 2023 comes after the country has just experienced a pandemic and a general election, the two occurrences that led to a number of Kenyans losing their jobs. Industries such as manufacturing and hospitality were among the worst hit. Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics shows that during the COVID pandemic, the Kenyan labour market lost 1.72 million jobs in 2020 alone. The informal sector, which is the leading job market for Kenyans, bore the brunt of the pandemic with 1.1 million jobs lost, while the formal sector shed over 600,000 jobs.
Aftermath of COVID-19 was really a major disruption in global supply chain. So if you look at a developing economy such as Kenya, that put on hold any progress that we could have seen in businesses to open up to more jobs. The jobs that we are creating are really not decent jobs. They're not secure jobs. They are precarious jobs in a sector that is struggling.
We have a workforce of about 19 million. Only 3 million, or thereabout, are actually 2.9 million are in the formal sector. Meaning that the rest, about 16 million, are actually people who work or who have jobs in the informal sector.
Further, according to the Ministry of Labour, there is a mismatch between the skills possessed by job seekers and those required by employers. This has led to a higher rate of underemployment, with the ministry saying it is currently working with the institutions of higher learning to ensure the curriculum is revised to match the needs of the job market.
That gap has been big because for a long time our curriculum and the labour market were not matching. So today we have, I think we're moving towards, as a government, ensuring that as much as possible the education that the Kenyan youth are getting is consistent with the requirements of the labour market.
But just what could be the solution to the current unemployment rate in the country? According to the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the sector has the potential to create over 1 million jobs in the next 5 years. However, the government needs to create a conducive environment to make sure that the sector is competitive by looking at the current tax regime. Taxes and the high cost of power have been cited as a key hindrance.
We used to outcompete the neighbors with manufactured goods, but we are losing that competitiveness. Now we have seen that even manufactured goods are flowing into the country. Now, if you go to all the border towns, we're being overwhelmed. If it's border with Uganda, it's a border with Tanzania, their goods are coming in. No, if we lose that, we lose everything.
Bring stability in the policy environment and have a very clear process of reviewing policies involving the private sector and other stakeholders so that we carry along the private sector with us.
Stakeholders in the labour market have also called on employers to work on bridging the inequality gap by ensuring that workers' remuneration are commensurate to the work, skills and education qualification and not based on gender.
Globally, there are instruments that talk about equal pay for work of equal value, and we support that as a federation. You pay for the job done, not the gender of the person doing the job.
The female CEO should be able to earn the same salary that a male CEO is getting.
Despite the high cost of living due to rising inflation, for a majority of Kenyan workforce, this year will not be the year for them to have a pay rise.
We are not, as FKE, expecting any shocks and surprises on Labour Day. Our appeal to our trade union counterparts, because I know they will demand a wage increase, but deep down they know that businesses need time to stabilize, and that actually the challenge facing this country is how we can bring in more Kenyans into employment rather than increasing the barrier, because every time you increase the minimum wage, you take that barrier of entry into employment even higher.
We don't have the institution that normally determines and advises on the increment of minimum wage. That is the National Labour Board. It's not been in place, their term expired, and also the General Wages Council If we had the two in place, then they are the ones in law who advise government.
At the same time, employers have been urged to minimize on the red tape in their institutions in order to ensure that they address the needs of their workforce and reduce cases of work-related stress.
You know, you must keep on motivating them. Obviously, times are hard. You must be a good listener. You must be able to obviously compromise where possible, but again, follow the standards, and not them to look at me as a general manager, but someone who is just part of the team. You know, without the designation, as a team member.
For the stakeholders in the labor market in Kenya, they say they have done their part in painting the roadmap for the government to follow. The question that now emerges is whether the government will implement the steps they have been given to create more jobs or not. Jimmy Mbogo, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, and that story by Jimmy Mbogo